welcome back. You're in the Gangsta Goodies kitchen with your favorite cooking show host. What's up, y'all? I got a treat. I know y'all say that every week, but every week I come with the treats, right? But this is a real treat. I got Big Court in the Gangsta Goodies kitchen, y'all. I'm so excited to have him, and I cannot wait to share this episode with each of y'all. Check it out.
So, world, it's your boy Big Court of the Holdin Court Podcast. You already know what it is, man. I'm here from LA in Kansas City, Missouri. The champ is here. I'm in my hometown. Man, I had to stop by and tap in with Miss Sheila on Gangsta Goodies. So we about to whip up something real quick, man. Y'all check out my episode. Don't meet me there, beat me there. Salute.
Welcome back. You're in the Gangsta Goodies kitchen with your favorite cooking show host. What's up, y'all? I have a special guest. I know you guys are looking with your eyes like this because I am too, right? So I'm going to let my special guest introduce himself.
Hey, I appreciate you having me, Miss Sheila. I'm Big Court of the Holdin Court Podcast. I have one of the biggest podcasts in the urban space right now. Of course, we got the deal with Revolt TV. I've had all the celebrity guests, everybody from Snoop Dogg to Master P, Jay Prince, Tiffany Haddish, Matt Barnes, you name it, they come to my show. So I'm here from LA in my hometown, and I had to come see you.
Yes,
you got a great platform, great energy.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm like, I keep telling them, I said, there's levels to this, right?
It is.
So look, I'm moving up, y'all, okay?
I appreciate that. I just
moving
appreciate
up.
you embracing me and ingratiating me, and I'm here to whip up something with you.
Absolutely. You guys take a look. I want you to take a closer look at our special guest a little up close.
I'm home court, you standing trial. Why ain't I see you around back when I was down? I'm home court, you standing trial. Why ain't I see you around back when I was down? They ain't believe in me in the beginning, but wanna hang around now they see me winning. I'm home court, you standing trial. Why ain't I see you around back when I was down?
I know, right, y'all? And he's right here from Kansas City. When I tell you I'm inspired, I'm inspired. When someone who is from your hood and who looks like you, and you see them doing the work, and you see, especially because this is what I want to do too.
Right.
It's so inspiring.
And not only that, we went to the same high school.
Yes.
We graduated different years, but we went to the same high school. Northeast Vikings for life.
Yes, absolutely for life.
Let me ask you real quick. Did
Yes.
y'all used to skip and go down to Independence Avenue to the restaurants and go to Bud Park? Did y'all do that?
We did that.
Okay, that's what we used to do.
We did that.
I barely graduated because of Bud Park. I just want to say that.
Oh my God, yes. I kind of hesitated to say, but
I saw that. You like, ooh, you snitching on camera.
Right. My grandkids are like, but I'm very transparent with them. It's like, look, yep, I did that too.
But everybody has a journey and a past. So that's why you can relate. That's why you can tell them what not to do.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely. A whole lot, okay?
Yeah,
so it's like, you don't want to try that. You don't want to try that. Absolutely. So y'all take a quick look at today's ingredients. We're going to make a really quick, simple shrimp lettuce wrap. Okay, I'm trying to keep it light, Big Court. As I get older, one of the things that I'm learning is that, carbs are really not my friend.
Okay.
Carbs want to stick to here, and it's too much.
Respectfully, if I can say, they've been kind to you. You look nice.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you.
See, y'all can't see what I can see. Respectfully. But go ahead.
Thank you. Look, he got me over here blushing, y'all, okay? That don't happen often either. But it is, and the other thing too is that I want to encourage our community to eat better.
That's a fact.
We don't have to, I love shrimp, but we don't always have to have it fried.
Have it fried. That was the first thing I asked you.
Yes.
I said, is it fried? You was like, nah, we're not going to do that. But no, that's an important message. And I love that you pinpointed that because that's kind of my messaging as well. You know, I work out. I'm
yes, I can tell. Y'all, look, y'all see these
I got the jacket on right now.
Look.
You know, maybe I'll take the
God.
jacket off later in the show.
Yes.
But yes, I think, you know, of course, because our people, our culture, we're already predisposed to different health things. So yeah, diet is everything. People ask me all the time, like, oh, how do you work out? And I'm like, man, most of the battle was with the diet.
It is. You know, it's in the kitchen. That's very important. It really, really is. And as we get older, especially women, is the protein level.
Yes.
I learned that I wasn't consuming nearly enough protein.
Right.
You know, and I'm like, what? And we think protein, we think meat. Y'all, it don't have to be meat. It can be chickpeas. I made the other day something called Marry Me chickpeas.
Okay.
Oh my God. They were so good with all the spices and herbs. And I had it over cauliflower rice.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, look, I want to live to be a 90-year-old spunky, you know what?
So you healthy.
So, well, now I am going to go have a fried chicken wing every once in a while.
Okay.
I'm just not going to cook
but
it.
But everything in moderation. I always say when you do the right thing and you eat clean, like 90% of the time, that gives you room to indulge.
It does. Yeah. It really does. I totally agree. We're going to get this fired up so we can get this started.
Let's do it. So she's going to teach me some things because I'll be honest with you, I don't know how to cook. I know how to make egg whites and waffles.
Okay. So there we go. Yes. And so actually what I did was I cut the shrimp up so that it wouldn't be... Because when I go out and I have shrimp lettuce wraps, one of the things that bothers me is that they put the whole shrimp in there. That I can't fit that in my mouth.
Okay.
You know, it's like, so I cut it up in little chunks, okay? And so, but the first thing we're gonna add is a little bit of onion.
Okay.
And I just love cooking with onion and a little bit of garlic.
All right.
Then I'm gonna go ahead and put these little red, yellow peppers in there.
And you diced all this up yourself?
I diced all this up.
Okay.
You know?
It smells good though.
It does, doesn't it?
And I don't even really like onions, but this smells good though.
Yes. And so it just a way to get extra vegetables in, you know, that sort of thing. And I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of seasoning. So this is just a Cajun seasoning that I mix up myself. And so we're just kind of sauteing that just a little bit. We don't want our veggies to be, you know, like soft. We still want them to be a little firm. And that's kind of what it looks like. Can you smell that?
I can.
Yes.
That smells good.
Yes.
That smells good.
I always say one of my grandchildren, my grandson CJ, he's gonna develop smell-o-vision for us. Yeah. And so I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna put the shrimp in.
So, what with this dish? Is this Southern? Is this Midwest? Is this Kansas City style? What?
You know, it's really, because honestly, that's good, baby. Honestly, I'm not a big soul food cooker.
Okay.
You know, although that's what I grew up on.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And I love it from time to time. But again, in my quest, which started probably about 14 years ago when I was diagnosed with a very rare type of blood cancer.
Oh, wow.
That the scientists say has no cure.
Okay.
So my body literally fights for me every single day. You know, and so I got to make sure that I'm good to it.
Gotcha.
You know?
Gotcha.
And so I would say this is just how I like to eat.
Okay.
You know, not really Southern, not really. Now that is a Cajun spice. But we got the shrimp for our protein as well. So we got that in there. We're going to let that kind of cook.
So you're very cognizant of like your sodium and stuff like that.
Yes, like there's absolutely no salt in there.
Okay.
You know? And so what we're going to get a little bit of salt from is in when we make the coleslaw that's going to go on top.
Ah.
And so I think often, you know, is that we think that now salt can enhance a flavor.
Yes.
But
in moderation.
Yes, all
That's
we need is a
everything.
little bit.
Moderation,
Just
yes.
a little bit. You know, sometimes my oldest daughter accuses me of using, she's like, Mama, did you put some salt in it?
Right.
I'm like, girl, you don't need no salt.
So you're cooking like a clear person.
Yes, exactly. That's it. Yes. And so we're just going to let these shrimp do their thing. And it doesn't take long. And this is something families could have on their table in just a few minutes. Yes. And so now what we're going to have you to do for us is, so this is our coleslaw, okay? And so we're going to have you, I've already shredded everything up, cut everything.
Okay.
And so we're going to have you to mix this all up. And so there's your spoon.
So how much is a little
And
bit?
so I would say start with one to see kind of one good, full,
Okay. All right.
And maybe one more.
All right. Right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yep.
I've never done this.
I love it.
Okay.
Yes. And so now we're going to drop some apples in there. We're going to put all of those apples in there. And then we have some lime juice. So if you squeeze the lime in there, and you'll use all of it.
Okay. So we're going to squeeze.
We're going to squeeze that fresh juice in there. Yes.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right.
Look at there.
All right. The lime juice. Both of them, right?
Both of them. Yes. And sometimes I use mangoes. I didn't have any mangoes, so today is apples.
Okay.
I've used pineapples in it. And the reason I put that fruit in there, again, it's just another way to pick up some fiber. But we're also going to put a little bit of jalapenos in there. And so I cut some up.
Now, look at that. I got a superficial cut on my finger.
Uh-oh, here,
that
let
lime
me...
juice is burning.
Ooh, okay,
It's all good.
yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, there we go. And then I'm going to... Would you grab that one right there?
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And then if you mix that coleslaw up...
All right, so we're just going to stir
so
it.
we're just going to stir it, yes.
All right.
And so... And we don't want to make it real mayo-y, like, you know, when you go to the family barbecue.
Right.
Just enough to, and I think that is perfect.
Is that perfect? Is
That
it good?
is.
I did that?
You did that. Look at you.
Look, I made my first coleslaw.
Absolutely. Now see, our shrimp is done. See that?
That does really look good.
Doesn't that look good? All those colors of the peppers in there. And then, you know, when we come back, y'all, we're going to put this all together. We're going to top it with a little coleslaw.
All right. I'm excited.
And
I'm hungry, too.
Yes, me too.
I haven't eaten.
Yeah, I haven't
just
either.
got here from LA, so I'm
love
ready
it.
to do it.
I love it.
All right.
Yeah, so we'll be right back, y'all. Okay, y'all, we are back, and we got these shrimp lettuce wraps.
Okay.
How they looking?
It looks good.
Nice.
You did a good job. We did a good job on this. I helped. I stirred a little bit.
Yeah, see, this is the coleslaw that you made.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what you do. You grab a piece of lettuce, and then, and I'm going to let you go first, because you're the guest.
Okay, so
Okay.
you know, we're going to do something different.
Okay.
As your daughter pointed out, I'm an only child.
Okay.
So I'm used to my food being made for me.
Oh, okay, I can do that. Absolutely,
Thank
I
you, I appreciate
can.
it.
Look
I
at
appreciate
here. I ain't made a plate for a man, and I don't know how
See,
long,
look at
y'all.
that. I'm pulling her out of retirement.
I love it. Yes. So let's get this here. So we got the lettuce, and then we're just gonna take some of the shrimp mixture and kind of make like a little boat here. And look at that. And then we'll put a lime here because you might want to squeeze a little bit of lime.
Okay.
And then we're gonna
Can
some of
I
that.
get mine without?
No coleslaw? You want no coleslaw? Okay.
Even though I made it. I'm
Even though
all
you
with the
okay.
coleslaw. Yeah.
Now what about some of this sauce?
That's
You want
cool.
some of that? Okay.
I know.
Ladies, when was the last
men-
time you made a plate for me?
I was just about to say the men are jealous. I'm getting my plate made by Miss Sheila. Thanks to
Uh-oh.
Goodie's Kitchen.
Uh-oh, y'all. You know, I hope that women who have, you know, significant others, that they enjoy this, because it is certainly something that I enjoy. Okay, so you want to take a taste, and then you take, there's a little lime if you want to put a little lime on it.
Now, I'm not really a foodie, but Sheila is slowly but surely turning me into a foodie.
I love it, yes.
All right, same time.
Yes, same time.
All right. Okay. I see you, Miss Sheila.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. See, this that gangsta goodies. So speaking of which, gangsta goodies. So this is Gangsta Goodies Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know, you're such a well-spoken, articulate, beautiful mom, grandmother. Where does the gangster come in?
Courtney, I've had people ask me that.
Okay.
They're like, "You not a gangster?" I'm like, wait. I'm not a gangster.
Mm-hmm.
But I am sure enough a gangsta.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Kansas City, right here on 12th Street, in Parker Square, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're from Kansas City, there was a lot going on in that neighborhood, okay? And so being raised in that environment, there was a lot to overcome, to come out of. And on top of that, I was a teen mom. By the time I was 16, I gave birth to my first child.
Me too.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, that in and of itself is like, you're still a kid yourself.
Yeah.
How do you wrap your mind around being somebody's parent?
Yeah. Especially as a kid. Yeah, that was heavy for me.
Yes.
And that's same with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the 40s.
Mm-hmm.
I always say I was raised on love, not survival.
Yes.
So inside, education was a focal point.
Yes.
I couldn't even speak grammatically incorrect in my house. My grandmother used to make me read the encyclopedia and the dictionary and then quiz me.
Yes.
I'm showing my age saying
I
encyclopedia,
love it.
right?
I love it.
Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yes.
To be exact.
Yes.
And so, even though I come from educated people,
Yes.
my mother and my grandmother, but we still are in the hood, and you
Yes.
still got to go outside and
Yes.
navigate the environment.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so sometimes that's where those negative influences can come in.
Oh,
I know what
yes.
happened with me.
Oh,
I
yes.
got street poison.
Yes.
And you kind of get off your path.
Absolutely.
But you, in essence, you always come back to how you were reared.
How you
and
were
those
reared.
things that were taught.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. And that is, the thing, you said something too. We have a similar path because my grandmother, who lived in Louisiana, would send me a box of books every month. Now, my grandmother was a domestic. Where she found the money, maybe it was the white people she worked for that gave her the books.
Yeah.
And it could be Reader's Digest, it could be an encyclopedia, it could be the Time magazine, it didn't matter what it was. But I knew that once a month when we did that long distance phone call, she was going to ask me about something that she sent.
Yeah.
So I knew I had to read all of that
Yes.
because I didn't know which one she was going to ask me about.
That's a fact. I think those things are important, man. Like, people have asked me. I remember when I first moved to LA 22 years ago.
Wow.
I had a homeboy. He was a OG pimp from
Okay.
Portland.
Okay.
Shout out to Baby Mike.
Okay.
Me and him were the only two, we're the only two niggas in Brentwood, and we lived in an upscale neighborhood. And I remember he was about 10 years older than me. And I remember one day he looked at me and he said, what made you feel as if you can do the things that you've done? And I'd never been asked that. I never thought about that. Because for him, it was foreign. I think he had come from foster, he didn't have the nurturing.
Yes.
And it's not lost on me that some people don't have that and how important that is.
It is very important.
And, I was thankful I had a mom that doted on me.
Yes.
And my mother made me feel like a little king. She would always tell me from a young age, she would be like, you can do anything you want to do.
Yes.
So those little things gave me the tools to really believe.
Yes.
Think outside of my environment.
Absolutely.
Even though I saw different things.
Oh,
and even
yes.
certain things I may have, partaken in.
Yes.
But deep down I knew that there was something,
that was deeply rooted in you. Yes, absolutely.
But again, like I say, it's important that those things or that foundation is given there. So I'm thankful for that. Like, I tell people, I come from a rough neighborhood. I come from Kansas City.
Yes.
But I wasn't that prolific of a criminal. I wasn't that smart. I had a lot of people praying for me.
Yes. A
lot of people praying for me. So it takes a village. It's like now, and it's so funny because I try to connect with youngsters. And I try to give them the game, if they're willing to hear it.
That part, yes.
And it's like, I already been where you been. You haven't been where I've been.
Exactly.
You may see me as the old head and, he's square. You're supposed to aspire to be square.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a good thing,
but
y'all.
Understand, a tiger never loses his stripes. See,
absolutely.
I can, you want to be able to be bilingual. See, you can only operate right now in one place.
Yes.
See, I can go in different. So I can go to the boardroom and to the project.
Absolutely, and absolutely,
you know, and thrive
absolutely,
so,
yes. You know, I told you, Courtney, that you are an inspiration to me.
Oh, thank you.
You are.
I appreciate that.
I watch you. I watch your and listen, and it is because what you remind me of is that my dreams are not too big.
Yes.
And that they are attainable.
Yeah.
And somebody who looks like me, from where I'm from, you've done it, and you're doing it.
Thank you.
And it's just going and going and going.
That was what I set out to do. So, you know, I was just talking to someone about this. There were people along my path that gave me the time of day. And they don't know how big that was to me.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
So sometimes support is not always monetarily. Sometimes it's a word of encouragement. Sometimes it's even acknowledging me.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
So early on, you know, again, I got with Master P when I was 17 years old.
How did that happen?
Oh, the Master P thing?
Yes. Because, I mean, you just walk down the street and here's Master P.
No.
Yeah, okay.
So I started as a rapper. I was a rapper in the
Okay.
90s. My name was Court Dog. I was a part of a group called CCG.
Okay.
And we were a duo. And so I just didn't want to be local again, going back to the way I was reared.
Yes.
I always understood there was a big world.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, so I'm from the 40s.
Uh-huh.
I remember being on my mongoose. I would go to 43rd, 43rd and Montgall, right by Friendship Church.
Yes.
There's a steep hill that we would ride our bikes down. But I would stand at the corner and just look out. You know,
yes.
You know. Now, as a little kid,
that's
I'm
a
really
big
probably
view.
seeing the 60s. You
Right.
know? But to me,
Right.
I was like, I used to always be like, man, I wonder what's beyond that.
Yes.
So I was a dreamer.
Yes.
And at night, I would be in my room with my window up in the summer, and I would see the light, what is that tower at KCPT?
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I would see it blinking at night. But as a kid, I'm thinking that that's so
far away. Yes.
So it started with that, just what's beyond here, what I see every day.
Absolutely.
So I've carried that into, you know, my life. And like I said, I had my child at 16. So I'm doing music and I'm trying to figure out how to get out of Kansas City. And this is before social media. So I'm trying to figure out how can I get a record deal? How can I connect with someone that's doing, you know, that's further than me? So I started out sending demo tapes. So this is sometimes why I have a little patience with artists nowadays. And I'm like, it's so much easier. If you want it, you will figure out a way.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so you either, you know, make an excuse or you'll make a way. So I had no concept of the music business. I had no one around me that could give me any information. So all of this was intrinsic. It was innate.
Yes.
And so
yes.
I hand wrote bios because I was thinking to myself like, okay, they need to know about us.
Yes.
So I hand wrote bios.
Wow.
Then I said, well, dang, they need to know what we look like. So go to 1 hour photo, take
the
some
pictures.
We,
Yes.
We in our b-boy stances.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And so then we do the demos, tapes back then. So what I would do is on the back of the CDs and the cassettes, I would look up the record companies. So I would send them all. So I was sending them to Elektra, Arista, MCA, all the majors.
Wow.
Just for them to be returned.
Yes.
With a stamp on them that said, we do not accept unsolicited material. I didn't know what that meant. I'm 17 years old. I have no knowledge of any of
You're
this.
from Kansas City. You
Right.
know none of that.
Nobody's teaching me anything.
Yes.
So my mind clicks and says, okay, well, I guess unsolicited. I could catch the context of it.
Yes.
Basically, I don't know nobody.
Exactly.
We didn't ask you to send it.
Exactly.
So,
Yes.
all right, okay. So I said, well, let me try to send it to some smaller labels. I didn't have the terminology independent.
Yes.
I didn't know that. But at the time, Rap A Lot, you know, In a Minute Records, Black Market Records, they were independent labels. And I, you know, were fans of their artists.
Yes.
So I said, well, let me try to send it to some smaller labels. So I would send it, and then at the time, I had a friend of mine named Dank Nitty he kind of rapped with us.
Okay.
People would say he sounded like Master P.
Okay.
At the time, I didn't know who Master P was.
Okay.
And so I would hear that often. So then finally, I said, well, man, let me go check out who this Master P dude is. So I get Ghettos Trying to Kill Me. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of dope. And so, was it Ghettos Trying to Kill Me or 99 Ways to Die? Anyway, one of his albums I had I said, well, man, let me send this off to No Limit Records and see,
Yes.
But he had a phone number. So I would run up the long distance and call and fill up the voicemail so no one else could leave a message and say, man, this is Court Dog from Kansas City, man. I sent my tape. I sent about 10 tapes.
I love it.
So I was so persistent. He was going to give me a definitive no. And so now, this is 94. So I graduated. So initially we were trying to go to Ruthless Records with Eazy-E. Okay. Eazy died in March. So communication ceased with Ruthless Records. Yes. So then that's when I pivoted and I started. So anyway, we hook up with Master P. So he calls the house one day. And I, by chance, at the time I was living with my father because I had just got off house arrest because I had been in jail. And he called the house, and so he's like, can I speak to Courtney? And so I didn't recognize the voice. So I was like, he ain't here, because my dad's name Courtney too. And so I said, who's calling? He was like, oh, tell him P called. So I was like, P? So I said, P who? He said, Master P. I was like, oh. I said, no, this is me. This is me,
Oh my goodness.
And so he started laughing, and he was like, man, you dodging somebody on the run or something? And I was like, nah, I definitely ain't on the run. I'm still on house arrest.
Exactly.
And so anyway, long story short, he tells me that, oh man, I got y'all tape, and I'm rocking with y'all. He was like, so this is when he flew us out to California to Oakland, and we did Down South Hustlers, which is why I got my first gold record. And so that's where the relationship started with P. This was 1995, 96.
Wow.
So, and the point of that is, I always tell people, you have to dream big. Like, don't be afraid to fail. I had nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Absolutely.
So now nurturing that relationship, because again, we've been friends about 30 years. It's been just growing, and P, I'm an only child, but P has always served as the big brother I never had. Along with Big Boz, which is his childhood friend. And so, I'm blessed. I never take for granted my access.
Absolutely.
And that proximity that I have to him. And I've learned a lot working with people.
I can only imagine.
We've done a lot of business and a lot of different things over the years. So.
I follow him, and there's not a lot of celebrities that I follow, but I do follow him, and I also follow James Lindsay.
Yes.
Rap Snaps.
Shout out to James.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the homie.
And so they both, the inspiration that I get from them is unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just the little bit of nugget here and the little bit of nugget there, it's like, oh my God. Yeah. And there was something that James Lindsay said on a post a couple of years ago. And he said, this is to all the entrepreneurs. And he said, if you by chance you're an entrepreneur and you have something special, you have a vision, you have a big dream. He's like, don't let nobody deter you from it. Keep at it. Keep going. Yeah. He said, I have been building Rap Snacks since 1994.
That's a fact.
When I heard him say that, I'm like, oh my God, Sheila, you only been doing this since 2016, girl.
Yeah, that's the important part of it. What I tell people, with James, you got to think, Rap Snacks really just started making money probably the last maybe 7-8 years.
That's what I was going to think about, maybe 10.
If that, right? This is why I tell people you got to be a purpose chaser, not a paper chaser, because just chasing the money only applies in the streets. That's all it is.
Absolutely.
But when you're trying to build something legitimate, because you're not going to reap the benefits of it off the bat.
Absolutely.
Right? So you have to love it and be willing to put that sweat equity in.
Absolutely.
And it's hard to tell people that, because listen, I get it, like you said, inspiration. That's what I try to serve as, right? That's just why I come back to my city. I give people time. I give them my time. I try to give them my jewels, my knowledge, whatever I have to offer. Sometimes people, it's not lost on me. I know sometimes you can give people words, but they still have to go back to their condition.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So the words kind of without the resource, so to speak.
Yes.
I understand that. But at the same time, what I believe is you still have to make the necessary changes. It starts here.
Yes, it does.
You have to do it here
yes.
before this can change.
Absolutely.
And I'm
yes.
speaking from a space of have done it and
yes.
applied it.
Yes.
You know? So I was in the, I'm dealing with the streets. I'm doing all of that.
Yes.
But my mind had to say, okay, I need to make these moves. And part of success is being uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
It's
Yes.
not, the world isn't against you because it's hard. Those are my daughter's words.
Yes.
The world is not against you because it's hard. Like, success is hard, but life is hard. So choose your hard.
Yes, exactly.
So, because sometimes, I'm only saying this because sometimes I get villainized. I hate to say that, especially
yes.
here, because
yes.
I think people look to me, and sometimes people don't want help. They want what you have.
And they don't want to do the work.
They don't want to do the work.
They don't want to do the work.
And sometimes they don't know what the work is.
Yes.
The work, you have to be doing 110, 120%. Then I can come in and try to help you. Absolutely. You can't be sitting back, doing bare minimum and then want me to do all the heavy lifting for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not fair to me or you.
It's not.
I'm not going to do it.
It's not. And there is something else I wanted to ask you about, and that is your partnership with Ice-T.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Oh, yeah,
yes.
Shout out to the OG.
See, I told you I've been watching you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Man, Ice-T, shout out to Ice-T. That's another one of my mentors. And it's so crazy. As I spoke earlier, from being a 12-year-old kid in
yes.
the 40s or a kid, I was always a precocious kid, man. I'm so blessed because from that space, everything that I dreamed about has come to fruition.
See, I love it.
And I can remember Ice-T was the first gangster rap record that I ever heard, which was Squeeze the Trigger from 6 in the morning.
Yes.
And so I've been a fan of Ice since I was a kid. So to grow up and to forge a relationship with him,
yes.
a brotherhood with him, that's never,
yes.
That's never lost on me. But so, Ice-T has done my show. He did the Holdin Court Podcast twice. And so shout out to my homeboy Steele from Gangster Chronicles. He's the one that kind of put me up on streaming platforms, which is called an OTT and Fast Channel. So now everybody is cut court and everybody's streaming now, right?
Yes.
So in essence, when you go to Netflix and Tubi, those are what they call OTT platforms.
Got you.
And so the fast channels, which is when you go to Plex and Pluto, those are fast channels. Okay. So the issue that I see in the space is, us as black people, we utilize a lot of infrastructure in terms of IG, Facebook, TikTok, but we don't own any infrastructure.
Yes.
So a good business is always finding a solution to a problem.
Absolutely.
So when I watched what Tubi did in terms of they did the merger with Fox, and so they started kind of closing their doors to independent filmmakers, and they started making it harder to get on.
Gotcha.
So you have a lot of displaced content creators. So I was like, well, man, let's create a space that's friendly to up and coming content creators. So we created Ice-T and myself, the OG Network.
Wow.
Which should be launching this summer. So we have our own, tentpole shows that we'll be launching, as well as licensing, other content. Yeah.
So do you guys have a cooking show?
We don't. We don't have a cooking show.
Look, I'm gonna be like you. I'm gonna be sending y'all stuff every day. Every day. Look, gangster goodies.
And the thing is, shout out to Ice-T, man. That's my guy. I run the show.
Okay.
Ice handed it over to me. Said, "Court, listen, I trust you. Run the show."
Yes.
So,
you gotta have a cooking show.
Yeah.
Because everything.
Yeah.
Food.
Yes.
Food is the ultimate unifier.
Yeah, and you know what? The title goes in Gangster Goodies. Yeah.
With the OG.
With the OG now. Yeah.
Oh shoot! Now.
Plastic material. That's our tagline. So we're gonna, so we have a lot of I'm in pre-production right now. With one of our movies, called Thirst Trap, which is a horror movie. My daughter's actually co-writing it. So, so we got a lot of good things.
Can we just shout out your daughter?
Because
I love her too. I love watching her.
Shout out to my daughter. The people love my daughter.
Yes.
And sometimes I trip because she has my whole face.
Yes, she does. She looks
beautiful.
Just like me.
She has a lot of me in her. But yeah, my daughter, she's a content. She's a tech founder.
Yes.
This is the one I had at 16.
I love.
So she grew up with me.
Yes.
And the thing about that is so funny because when kids, you know, some kids think that they think about, oh, I remember when my dad took me fishing and all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time she told me, she said, yeah, Dad, I remember when you had the blue colors with the chrome Daytons on it. And remember, I used to sit on your lap, you used to have a chrome gun under your lap, and then you used to let me hit the switches.
Right.
And when she told me, I was like, damn, that sound ghetto as shit. Right. That's your childhood memory, huh? You know, but she grew up in the studio with me, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
You are doing just so many awesome things,
Yeah,
you
thank
know,
you.
and dreaming that big dream. One of my favorite quotes is dream a big dream, make it a memory of the future,
Yes.
and expect a miracle.
Yeah.
And so I do that every day when I get up. You know, I have big dreams, you know, for Gangsta Goodies Kitchen. And
the
I'm
important part about
working
that is you have to have dreams, but you have to have goals and
Goals.
action behind them.
That's
Because
right.
if you don't, then in essence they become
They're
just
just dreams.
disappointments.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
it's important, and you're not gonna have. So I sometimes I get frustrated and tired because you try to communicate. People are just looking at where I'm at now.
Absolutely.
And you're not understanding this is 30 plus years.
Yes.
You know, I wrote my first rap, which was my entrance into entertainment in like 1989 in middle school.
Wow.
You know, so you're seeing, and what you don't see are the failures.
Yes.
That's the part that you don't see.
That part,
You know,
yes.
even once you see the OG network, what you don't realize is I've failed 3 other times in doing this.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
To get to this point.
Yes.
So that's your process too.
Absolutely.
You know,
I'm not afraid to fail.
No.
Now, we did talk a little bit about your podcast, but tell what inspired you, and I want people to know where can they listen to Big Court.
So I'm on all streaming platforms: Revolt TV, Holdin Court Podcast, YouTube, Holdin Court Podcast, IG, Holdin Court Podcast, I Am Big Court, Snapchat, Facebook, all Holdin Court. I even got episodes the first season on Tubi. So
Really? Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
So I'm
okay.
everywhere, Holdin Court. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it.
Yeah.
And so, what inspired you to do that?
And I don't want to get too long with it, but because that's kind of a layered question. So real quick, we both went to Northeast.
Yes.
I don't know if Mr. Connor was up there when you were up there. Probably not. So Mr. Connor was my senior English teacher. Again, I told y'all how I grew up with my grandmother and the words and reading. So I always excelled with literature and writing.
Yes.
And so I was just trying to graduate my senior year. I had been in jail, I had been messing up, but I didn't want to hear my mama's mouth.
Absolutely.
So I had to write a paper, I had to get up, and I had to say it in front of the class.
Yes.
So I did it. Now, mind you, 1994, I'm in full gang garb. I got on my Georgetown starter coat, khakis, Cortez, you know, the standard uniform.
Yes.
And so, and I think I'm a gangster. Right?
Yes. Yes.
So, but I get up and I do this paper. So Mr. Connor looks at me and he says, Richardson, he says, you have a wonderful speaking voice. He said, you speak very eloquently. You should, and he called me an orator. I didn't know what that was. And so he said, you should consider public speaking. Now, in real time, I felt disrespected. Like he disrespected my gangster. Like, I'm not smart like that. What are you talking about? I'm a gangster.
I'm a
like,
gangster.
This is how messed up my head is at the time.
Yes.
Fast forward, about 2017, 18, Master P has a show called Doing the Most on Playboy Radio.
Okay.
He asked me to be a part of it. So I'm like, what are we doing? What are you? He's like, man, just come on the show. So I come on the show. We're interviewing celebrities. That was my first taste of kind of that space.
Yes.
One of the executives pulled me to the side and was like, hey, you're kind of good at this. And I'm like, really? And so shout out to Jay Tweezy. He said the same thing. He was in No Limit Records. He was our A&R.
Okay.
And so anyway, they ended up taking me over to Dash Radio in Hollywood.
Okay.
And got me my first show over there.
Wow.
I still didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know anything about the space. This is like 2017, 18. So I do that for about 6 months. I couldn't figure out how to monetize it. Matter of fact, Snoop had a show in the same building.
Okay.
So I abandoned it. So now we go to the shutdown. So during the shutdown, I done watched everything on Netflix and everything.
Yes.
So now I'm on YouTube. So I'm watching podcasts. Never watched it before. So as I'm watching, I'm like, I may have something to offer in this space.
Yes.
So I hit my homeboy producer Ken, who owns a big soundstage studio.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what, man, let's do a show where we just talk about the rap we grew up on, 90s. That's how it started.
Wow.
And so what happened was I end up, because I've been in LA 22 years,
Yes.
and my name is good, and I've fostered these relationships.
Yes.
I just went through and called all my celebrity people.
Yes.
Excuse me, and everybody showed up. So then that's when I looked at it and was like, okay, let me really be intentional.
Yes.
So going to the question that you asked, I saw that there was a lack of, at least in my algorithm, of platforms that made us look good.
Yes.
And that celebrated us. I would see a lot of the content that was incendiary and salacious, vitriolic. So I wanted to provide that made us look good and humanized us.
Absolutely, yes.
And we can keep it 100.
Absolutely.
And we can have the difficult conversations, but instead of being exploitive, and because I've had drug kingpins, I've had gangbangers, I've had big street figures on my show, but on my show, what I was able to pull out was the redemptive quality.
Yes.
Okay, cool. You did that. You shot a bunch of folk. You sold dope. Let's peel back the layers of why you made those choices.
Right.
I've had people come on my show and cry and break down in tears because of the unresolved trauma.
Yes.
And then what was the redemption? What they're doing now.
Absolutely.
So I felt like that was important, and that would make me stand out, and it was meaningful.
Absolutely.
So that was really my inspiration, but then it made me think about Mr. Connor.
Yes.
That he told me.
Yes, all those years ago.
All those years ago.
Wow.
He said, you have a skill set. You need to be speaking to people.
Absolutely.
And so, full circle, this is what I'm doing. And, having a platform has opened up so many doors for me. We're in a day and age of social currency.
Yes,
with social
we are.
media and having a voice and having influence. So it's opened up so many doors that I've been able to leverage. I've talked to kids. I'm working on some, different community things to have that social currency and be able for people to take you serious.
Absolutely,
So
yes.
That's what inspired me.
I love it. And then you inspire others.
Yes.
Every single day. You do.
Yeah.
You're doing it. You're not trying. You're absolutely doing it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. Well, I know I've taken a lot of your time, but there's one other thing that I want to talk about, and that is your legacy building that you're doing.
Yes.
That platform.
Yeah.
Because this sounds like something I need to be signing up for.
Yeah.
It does.
Well, you have access to me in real life.
Okay.
So you just call me. But and shout out to my daughter, Rachel Renee.
Okay.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a humbling thing as you get older, and sometimes you have to defer to your kids.
Oh yes.
That's an interesting thing.
It is.
But her and her team, they saw what I was doing, in the ecosystem I built with Big Court and Holdin Court Podcast brand. And so a lot of my followers, or many of them, they would ask me different questions about healthy living, working out, real estate, how to make money, how to really level up my life.
Absolutely.
So my daughter was like, hey, you need to create your own community to where you speak to these things.
Absolutely. And
you don't have the time to talk to individuals, but you can create the content to where they can tap in with it.
Absolutely.
So we created Legacy Builders University. You can go to iambigcourt.com and tap in. So basically for me, it's all about mindset strategies. I believe that that's where things start. It all starts here.
It does. It really does.
You can give someone, I'm not just going to deduce it to the hood or anybody. You can give anyone that's not financially educated, you can give them, $1 million. But if they don't, educate, they're going to be broke in 8 months.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I know because I squandered through my first $1 million in my 20s. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I am him.
Yes. Yes.
So to me, it's all about mindset strategy. So that's what we focus on, really trying to help people get to whatever their goals are.
Yes.
Because it all starts here, whether you want to be a chef, whether you want to play, whatever it is.
Whatever it
here.
is. Yes, it does.
It makes, your perspective is everything, because it's like what I've learned in this media space. You can have 100 people look at the same thing and come away with 100 different understandings of what they just witnessed.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
it's mindset. It's how you see it, and it's not. I always say it's not the load that you're carrying; it's how you're carrying it.
How you carrying it?
It's how
Yes.
you carry it.
Yes.
We all have to deal with life. Like, I think sometimes people think that I have this charmed life that's just, full of opportunity. No, as a matter of fact, me as a successful person, I've failed more times than most people have tried. And even just by nature of what I do you know how much rejection that I have to endure, even to small levels?
Yes.
When you're trying to do some things and make some things happen and doors shut and people don't respond, and
absolutely,
it's just business.
It is.
And that's the other thing I want to tell people. Do not take these things personal.
Yes. Absolutely.
Life is not picking on you.
Yes.
Because life is life, and for all
of us. Yes.
Right? You think that I don't have to deal with life and family and different things? No.
Absolutely.
But I still keep it moving.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
It's how you carry that load.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Courtney, thank you so much. We got Big Court in the house, y'all, in the Gangsta Goodies kitchen. I'm so excited.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. And you have and I want to say this, she has a great platform, great energy, great spirit. And I've done some huge platforms, and this, by far, I'm going to go on camera and say it, she is the most professional and the most organized.
Oh my God. Thank
no
you so
bullshit,
much.
if I can say that.
Yes. Thank you. You all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for spending your time with us. If you're not already following us on all the platforms, do, y'all, because we're going to show you a great dish for you and your family to try, and we're always going to bring the best guests in the Gangsta Goodies kitchen to share information and resources with you. Big Court in the kitchen, y'all. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out. Mwah.